Hey everyone, welcome to a new year for Power Core Productions and Podcastings. I'm your host, Javon Harrington, back to hit you with a brand new video here for Power Core Productions. First and foremost, Happy New Year and welcome to the 2024 calendar year. As you've all seen, I've got a lot of stuff planned, even some stuff that potentially I haven't even shown you yet. But today, we're going to be kicking off the start of the year, and we're going to be beginning with the Anime Marvel Phase 3, Part 1 of the Fallout Saga. That being Part 1, Tales to Astonish, with today's morning video. That's right, the morning video is going to be Dragon Ball Fantastic Tales, What If Goku Joined the Fantastic Four, Season 1. Now, with Season 1, we're going to be covering all of the original Dragon Ball saga. So that's from when Goku lands on Earth, all the way to the events of the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. All of that's going to be wrapped up in Season 1 across 2 weeks. And we're going to be doing an afternoon video as well. So you'll be getting 2 videos a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. But all in all, I'm really excited for this year. I'm excited for all the stories that I have to tell, and I can't wait to get it all out to you. I'm refreshed, I'm energized, I'm ready to go. Like I always say, I can't do it without you. You make the channel grow, you make the core grow. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The sun was setting on Mount Paozu as an older man by the name of Son Gohan made his way home. He had been out picking vegetables in the garden, and he was ready to turn in for the night with a nice soup and looking to shield himself from the cold. Although on this night in particular, he would get a lot more than he could have expected. It came when he saw what appeared to be 2 shooting stars in the distance. Although, the closer they came to the atmosphere, he saw that those were no shooting stars. One larger vessel and a smaller one, both crashing into the mountainside. The older man went to investigate. At the smaller vessel, he found a pod that contained a baby. A boy with what appeared to be a monkey's tail. After securing him, he would move to the larger vessel where he found 4 unconscious individuals. 3 males, 1 female. It took a lot of work on his part, but eventually he got all said parties to his home, tending to their wounds and trying his best to make sense of what had happened. Were they space folk? Were they traveling? Did something go wrong? Would they be okay? And would they eventually wake up? They were all still alive, but he couldn't do anything but wait until the morning. And in said question, things only became more strange. It started with the baby. It woke up crying, probably hungry or needing a change. Grandpa Gohan would attend to the child. However, in the next room over, that was where the real chaos started. It began with the youngest of the 4, the young boy who woke up set ablaze. He had no control over himself or what he was doing, and he was hysterical. The older individual had transformed into a rock-like being, skin as hard as stone. The other male was trying his best to calm down his companions, although he had no control over his limbs that seemed to stretch and move beyond his comprehension. He also heard the sound of a woman, but he couldn't see her anywhere. Thinking quickly, with no choice, he burst down the wall to his home, allowing for the young man on fire to rush out. It was best to sacrifice the forest in where he lived. As for the larger individual and the one whose limbs had become almost like that of rubber, he would use his ability and strike them in a few key pressure points to knock them down. before rushing outside where the young man had set ablaze. He quickly put out the fires using compressed air strikes before eventually getting the young man out to an open clearing. "Help! I don't know what's going on. I'm on fire and it's just..." "Calm down, young man. It'll be all right. I want you to take a deep breath. Focus. You may be on fire, but you are not burning." I'm what?" "Deep breaths." The two would go through emergency breathing, the young man going in and out. As he did so, the flames would rise and fall. He slowly started to come to a consciousness, and he could feel that his skin was not burning, despite being on fire. Eventually, the flames would dissipate, the young man having turned back to normal. How did I do that? Who are you?" "I am Son Gohan, young man. I'm Johnny Storm." "I see. Well, young Johnny, it seems you and your friends have been through quite an ordeal." "Yeah, you'll say. I don't know what happened. We were out in space, and this weird pod thing came crashing into us. I don't know what happened, but the next thing I knew, we found ourselves crashing back down on Earth." "So, you are human then?" "Yeah, of course I'm human. At least I used to be. I don't know what I am now." "It's obvious to me that you've gone through some sort of change. As for the pod in question, there seemed to have been a child inside of it." "A child? You mean a little kid did all of this to us?" "Come with me. We will have to speak with your friends and make sense of the situation." It took some time, but eventually, the group were able to put together what had happened. Despite everything that had changed them, Reed was the first one to come through with full understanding of what had taken place. They had launched off in West City. Their ship flew from the hangar of the Baxter building. That was which Reed owned. They were traveling out in space because they were going on an expedition. However, a strange form of radiation washed over the ship, and then, as if things had to spiral out of control, the pod that crashed into their own ended up knocking them off their course. Reed remembered trying to correct the ship's path to try to get them back down to Earth safely. In the process, they ended up crashing over near Mount Paozu, and thus, this is where they were. But still, how had they changed, become what they were now? Was it due to the radiation, or was it something else? And then there was the mystery of the boy. After getting their bearings, with help from Gohan, Reed would go and investigate the crash site. He would be calling in some specialists to pick up the ships, along with their own and with the pod that the boy had come in. For Reed, there were now a lot of new possibilities, a lot of new things that he had never originally thought of. Of course, there was getting whatever had happened to them under control. And that was where Gohan came into question. If there was one thing that Gohan knew, it was that having the right state of mind was key to any situation you might find yourself in. Now, of course, it wasn't like he was trying to train new students or anything, but still, he had to make sure that whatever happened going forward, these individuals would be safe to themselves and to the population as a whole. It started with meditative breathing to get them all to relax. You could akin this to being something as simple as yoga, simple martial arts. It wasn't in the form of learning any form of violence or things of that nature, but it was a way of getting them to understand, to comprehend their power. It wasn't like there was much that he could do in the span of a few days, but eventually the four were able to get a relative grasp as to what they were able to do. In just a few days' time, Reed was able to stretch and move his limbs at will. Susan was able to go in and out of her invisible state with ease. Johnny got a better control over his flames, and Ben had to come to grips with his newfound strength. But there was still the matter of the baby. That was something that really had Reed's attention. After running some quick tests, Reed was able to tell that the baby itself was not human. But if it's not human, Susan would say, then where did it come from? Why would a baby be traveling in a pod? I have not the slightest idea. But this pod is made from advanced alien technology, far greater than anything we have on Earth. That means that beyond a shadow of a doubt, there is life beyond our own world. In a roundabout way, you could say that this voyage has been a success. Easy for you to say. You're not the one that got turned into this freak. I don't even know what the hell I am, Reed. I'm some sort of... a thing, Johnny would say. Shut it, hothead. All right, guys, calm down. But still, this does prove that there's life beyond the stars. Although it makes me question, was the baby supposed to come to Earth? Or maybe it was trying to go back home and we're the ones that knocked it off course. But that doesn't make any sense, Johnny would say. If he was going home, where could it possibly have come from to begin with? Nah, if it were going anywhere, my guess is that it probably left home. You know, like that comic book we used to read when we were little, Susan. What, that superhero comic? Yeah, you know, the guy that went from a planet that was dying or whatnot, ended up getting shot off in a rocket ship, landed on Earth. What was his name? Power Guy? Super Dude? Johnny, you read too many comic books. But it doesn't prove that they're not true. I mean, look, Reed said so himself. We've got a baby from outer space that's not human. We don't know what this guy is. Maybe we should turn him in. No. Even if he's not human, he doesn't deserve to be experimented on or anything like that. Who knows what some shady organization would do if they got their hands on him? True. The last thing we need is something like that happening. And the young man hasn't done anything wrong. What if we take him in? Oh, you would like to adopt him? Gohan would say. Yes, if you don't mind. I mean, you've done so much and we wouldn't want to trouble you. We have more than enough means to take care of a child. It would be no problem. I don't see why not. After all, in my old age, I'm not sure I could be able to run around a young whippersnapper myself. I appreciate it. Thank you. But is it possible? Sure. You're free to come by anytime. Thank you. From what I've been able to learn in the past few days, you're certainly more capable than how your looks would appear. Well, you're a smart fellow. You of all people should know, never judge a book by its cover. With that, the ships would respectively be picked up by Reed and would be brought back to the Baxter building. Since Reed and Susan were already set to be married anyway, they chose to expedite the marriage, thus becoming Mr. and Mrs. Richards, along with their son. They had tried coming up with a name for him, and the elder man, known as Gohan, had already come up with one. He had been calling the young boy Goku, and the name sounded good enough, they felt no need to change it. Of course, they gave him a last name, Thus, Goku Richards was brought into the Richard family. From the next years on, things would progress for this family of now superpowered individuals. They took on the moniker known as the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards, Susan Richards, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, and the Human Torch. As the years went on, as young Goku was raised, he watched as his family of superpowered individuals not only conquered the world of science, but also all villainy that came their way. From battling the likes of the Mole Man and his Moloids, the Mad Thinker, the Wizard, and as such. Of course, among the Fantastic Four, their greatest foe, one known only as Victor Von Doom. Although, by the time Goku had reached 12 years old, they hadn't seen him in almost 6 years. As for Goku, on top of watching his superhero family, he also grew in his own development as a young child. For one thing, being raised by Reed Richards and the Richard family, Goku's intelligence would be far greater than it was in the original timeline. Of course, not to the degree where Goku was on par with Reed in terms of full-on intellect, but it meant that Goku was a lot more wiser, smarter. He was able to perceive and understand the basics a lot better than the original Goku that you all know and love. On top of everything, it wasn't long before they were able to discover Goku's latent power and potential. Even as a young child, it wasn't uncommon for the smaller Goku to be lifting heavy objects far greater than what the average child was expected to be able to do. Even by age 5 and 6 years old respectively, it wasn't uncommon to find the young Goku lifting up a whole couch by himself, allowing Susan the chance to vacuum underneath it. Or for the young Goku to be helping Reed in the lab, lifting heavy equipment whenever Ben wasn't around, or he could even help out Ben. And if you're thinking that Grandpa Gohan didn't play a key factor in the story, well, you would be wrong. In fact, the old man kept in contact with the Richard family, watching over Goku whenever the family had to travel or go on a mission, and as such, Goku was still able to train in the ways of martial arts, this time with a lot more understanding, a lot more focus. However, it was at the age of 6 years old where another discovery was made. It happened during one night in particular. Now you see, because of Susan being the caring mother that she was, Goku always got plenty of rest. So he was usually asleep before nightfall, meaning that Goku never really got a chance to see a full moon. Well, that changed when he was under the eye of Gohan. They were out camping under the stars. It was a cloudy night, but the clouds were starting to dissipate, and it allowed for the full moon to be revealed. It was at that moment that they discovered another terrifying ability of the young child. When Goku saw the full moon, his body went under a transformation as he turned into a large great ape. Thankfully, Gohan had a way of contacting Reed, and thus the Fantastic Four was called into action. But dealing with a giant ape, this was something that they thought was even beyond their pay grade. At best, they were able to keep the large ape into submission just long enough until the sun rose and Goku transformed back into his childlike state. But even still, the rampage he had caused, even to just a forest, was far greater than they could have possibly imagined. Ah, great, Reed. So, that child, you brought a were-ape into your family? I didn't even know this was possible. He's never done this before? Gohan would ask. No, he hasn't. Although, he usually goes to bed pretty early, so he's never actually had a chance to see a full moon. I didn't think that this was even a possibility. But it shows that there's still so much that we don't know about him. Perhaps the young boy is a lot like you all. I remember when you first came to me, you all had no control over your power. But after learning, practicing, and learning your disciplines, you've grown to be fine individuals. And I believe little Goku could be the same. What? You think he could actually master this power or something? I don't think it's impossible, but it will take work. But can we take such a risk? Susan would ask. What if he transforms in the city? I mean, sure, he rampaged in a forest. No one got hurt this time, but we can't take that kind of risk. Yes, but at the same time, Miss Richards, you cannot ignore the problem and pretend like it doesn't exist. Otherwise, it will only continue to fester. The young boy must learn to control this power at some point. If he doesn't, then he will only continue to be a danger not only to everyone around him, but to himself. I agree, Richard would say. But for now, I'd rather just keep it monitored and under control. I feel like that'll work best. Everyone would agree to this, and this led to Richard's next great adventure. That in the form of building Goku a buddy, a robot by the name of Herbie. He was an assistant to the team, and to Goku especially, always able to keep him company if no one else was around or if Goku wasn't with Gohan, and Herbie had a built-in clock that let him know whenever the full moon was going to be present, so Herbie was always making sure to warn Goku not to go outside at night during those times. From there, Goku would continue in his training, getting stronger and growing wiser, until eventually he reached the age of 12 years old. By that point in time, Reed was 40, Susan 37, Ben 43, and Johnny, he had just turned 31. It was actually around this time that great joy and great sadness came. The joy came in the form of Susan and Richard finally having another child, Goku's little brother, Franklin Richards. But shortly after, tragedy would strike. The Fantastic Four, Goku, and baby Franklin all stood at the bedside of Grandpa Gohan as he was preparing to take his last breaths. Master, it's okay, Goku. No need to cry. I've lived a long and wonderful life. I'm grateful to have met you, all of you. And we're grateful to you, sir. You've done so much for us, from the time that we first met all the way till now. I don't know how we could ever repay you. Remember what I've taught you. Continue to live your lives to the full and with no regret. Continue to do the good that you have always done. And know that I will always watch over all of you. This is what I wish to give you, so that you may never forget. Grandpa Gohan, with the last strength he had, would give Goku two significant items. First, the Power Pole, and second, the 4-star Dragon Ball. At the time, everyone thought that it was just a special piece of jewelry or a special ornament. Goku tied it to a necklace and carried it around with him. It was the most treasured possession he'd have. At the same time, Reed had an announcement to make to Goku and everyone else. After years of serving together as the Fantastic Four, Reed and Susan were going to be taking a leave of absence for an undisclosed amount of time. With a newborn baby, they were going to be setting their focuses on raising him, as well as taking a step back from the hero scene. Not that they didn't like doing it, but Susan was all in mother mode right now, and for Reed, he viewed himself as more of a scientist to a hero first. Johnny had no problem keeping the tradition going, and Ben, he had the power, so why not use it for good? That meant there were 2 more spots left for the Fantastic Four, and they knew exactly who was going to be taking that spot. Young Goku was given a present. Whenever he trained with Grandpa Gohan, he always wore a special martial arts gi. Well, now they had made one specifically for him. It was blue, although the insignia had been changed to the Fantastic Four logo. It's my own uniform? Just like ours, but with your own style and preference. It's a way of paying tribute to your master, someone who was good to all of us, and also bringing you into the fold. How you feel about stepping into the reins of being a part of the Fantastic Four, Goku? Really? All right! Goku was beyond excited, as now he was finally going to be stepping out into the scene. Sure, he had helped out a few times here and there, but it was always under the radar, and Reed always made it very clear that Goku learning to control his power and learning to better himself was first and foremost before being a hero. But now the time had come. The time for Goku to journey out into the world. Of course, Goku was self-taught at home, and he was a good student. There was always much more for him to learn, but he'd have to learn through experience. As Goku was now a part of the Fantastic Four, although they still needed a 4th member, Journey would come looking for them once again, as there was a knock on the door of the Baxter building. When Reed looked on the intercom to see who it was, he was surprised to see that it was the daughter of his contemporary, Dr. Briefs. His daughter, Bulma Briefs. Now, the Briefs family and the Richards family go way back, with Dr. Richards and Dr. Briefs having been college companions. Their children had grown up together as well, with Bulma and with Goku respectively, so they knew of each other. But they wondered why she was here. Yes, Bulma, what can we do for you? Hi, Mr. Richards, Mrs. Richards, Johnny, Ben. Hey, Goku. I came because, well, I'll show you. I built this radar, you see? I'm looking for these orbs called the Dragon Balls. And believe it or not, it says that one of them's here. A Dragon Ball? You mean like the one you have, Goku? Huh? Goku? You have a Dragon Ball? Yeah, I got it from Master Gohan. No way! Goku, can I have it, please? What? No! My master gave it to me. I can't give it up. But Goku, don't you realize what you have? What is it? Reed would ask. Well, legend says of the 7 Dragon Balls, 7 magic orbs, each one marked with a number of stars from 1 to 7. It's said that if you gather all 7 together, a mystical dragon known as Shinron will appear, a dragon capable of granting a single wish. Hold on, what? Wish granting orbs? Johnny would say. You gotta be kidding me. Ain't no way a tall tale like that's real. Come on. Now guys, we all used to think that there were certain things that couldn't be possible, yet we're living proof that the impossible can be possible. But Bulma, let's just say for the sake of argument that all of this is true. why exactly are you gathering all of the Dragon Balls? What do you plan to do with them? Oh, well, you see, I kinda wanted to wish for a boyfriend? That's what you're gonna wish your wish on, kid? Johnny would say, laughing. I mean, seriously, you're already good looking as it is. I don't really think you need a Dragon Balls for that. You don't understand. I want to find the perfect person. Someone just for me. I mean, if they're out there, then the dragon can show them to me, can't he? But still, Bulma, Richard would say, do you really think that's wise? I mean, we're talking about a powerful artifact. You'd really use a wish on something like that? Now, Richard, Susan would say, as she held baby Franklin in her arms. It sounds like a wonderful adventure, but are you sure you'll be able to do something like this all on your own? I mean, I've managed to track down one of the balls on my own. I mean, if I could just borrow it, Goku, I promise I'll give it back. Really, I will. Goku was still skeptical, but Ri would speak reason with Goku. After all, if she promised to give it back when it was over, then there was no harm, no foul. They just had to use them temporarily. Okay, fine. But I get to come with you. Huh? I think that's the best idea. After all, this could be dangerous. There's no need for you to go out all on your own. Well, okay. As a matter of fact, Ben, Johnny, why don't you go with them? Huh? No. I've got a date tonight. I don't have time to be playing babysitters for some kids running around for some fairy tale. Are you serious? Please, just until their journey's over. I believe if all of you work together, you'll be able to accomplish it in relative time. You owe me. Double that. Thank you. Goku, pack everything you need. Ooh, can Herbie come with us? Sure, I don't see why not. And with that, Bulma joined along with the newest member of the Fantastic Four. Goku would lament that the idea that they were technically the new Fantastic Four now, although Bulma made it very clear that this was only a temporary partnership, and she didn't have any aspirations of doing hero work full time. I mean, I respect what you guys do, but still, I'm not trying to get into a fight with that mole man guy. He's so ugh. Yeah, you got that. But I mean, what do you expect? When you're fat, you're ugly, and you spend all your time with monsters in the cave, you come out looking like Ben. I'm gonna clobber you for saying that. Hey, big guy, take it easy now. No need to get so worked up. Too late. And with that, the four would set off on their journey. In their journey to find the Dragon Balls, to see if the myths were true. This is the story of Goku, of his journey with a fantastic family, and the start of a fantastic tale. This concludes Dragon Ball Fantastic Tales. What if Goku joined the Fantastic Four? Season 1, Part 1. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is Power Core Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for this afternoon's video as we're going to be beginning My Hero Academia Armored Adventures, What If Deku Was Iron Man, Season 2, Part 1. And come back tomorrow morning as we continue Dragon Ball Fantastic Tales, What If Goku Joined the Fantastic Four, Season 1, Part 2. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.